Dogweg. We're here. We're doing what I'm going to say an emergency broadcast of One Dish, One Mic. I'm here with Lindsey Joo, Sean Vanderklis. Lindsey, thank you so much for jumping on with us. I want to cut right to the chase and talk about there is a rally, and that's Friday, July 3rd at 11 a.m. We're meeting at the Tim Hortons on Victoria Ave in Niagara Falls to start. Is that right? And is there anything you want to say about the rally to let our listeners and viewers know about?
Yeah, so we picked that location because we're trying to get as much traction as we can for the locals and visitors, as well as my community. And yeah, because of the comments that the mayor has made, my community is pretty upset, as well as the chief. So I'm actually traveling from Toronto to Niagara Falls with my mom, to be there in support of our community.
Yeah, let's get right at that. Let me run down those basic details for people again. Meet at the Tim Hortons Friday, July 3rd at 11 a.m. and then there's a march to City Hall that's going down. So let me ask you right off the hop, Lindsey, where did you sort of become aware of these comments, and what did you think when you saw what had been said by the former CAO and by the mayor?
They're really disheartening words. Like, I was pretty furious because how can you say that about a community that is displaced and that is in your city? Like, as a leader, you should be showing more compassion towards the people that are displaced there. And it just is like fueled a fire in me because, like, I'm very comfortable with doing videos online and speaking up for my community. And I have been since January 4th, since we were displaced in the first place.
Now, Lindsey, since then, so this kind of took off over last week, I think was the actual meeting. As of yesterday is when it really picked up media-wise. So the CBC has done an interview, the Global Mail has done an interview, APTN has done an interview, as well as the Niagara Dailies have done interviews. The mayor and the CAO have had ample opportunities to take ownership over their words that they've chosen to make, the statements that they've chosen to make, and they've yet to do so. It's my understanding that you sent them an email. What was your response? How were you greeted with that email?
Oh, the response was very, very, like, he didn't take accountability for his words at all. Like, there was no apology in his words. And every single person that I spoke to, the email was pretty well the same to everyone, where he doubles down on not like there's no apology at all in his emails. So I'm just thinking, like, so you're not willing to apologize for the comments you made? And this is why we're rallying now, because everyone's upset.
So for listeners and viewers that are just maybe plugging into this story, I think there's two major problems with what happened. In an interview with Ray Spiteri from the Niagara Falls Review that was published on June 26th in regards to a June 24th meeting, the mayor, maybe I'll go through the comments and ask you to react to each one. So the comment that's gotten a lot of traction is from the mayor, who said to Ray Spiteri in the article that perhaps there's an old military base or old schools that could be repurposed as housing, as intergenerational residential school survivors. How do you feel about that notion of schools as housing?
I mean, it's a little, like, disheartening because, like, obviously it just brings back, I'm sure, a lot of memories for the people, like the older generation that has gone through that already and that are still suffering the effects of that today. But I think that maybe, like, they should work on, like, building a unit, like an apartment unit for displaced communities, because that's what my dad's plan when he was chief was. He wanted to make a designated building with kitchenettes and everything, like units for these families that were displaced because of, like, floods and whatnot. So I think that's something they could do.
I like the idea that you're talking about having voices from Kashechewan that are actually leading this process. I wanna now ask you about the former CAO Ken Todd's comments, where he said something along the lines of a lot of people see Indigenous people on the street and think that they're homeless. I don't even know what to say about that one, Lindsey.
Oh, That one was crazy. I couldn't believe that he actually spit those words out of his mouth. It's unbelievable how like you can view people like that and mistake them for homeless individuals. Like that's such a dangerous stereotype that we've had to deal with for so long, and like we don't need to deal with that anymore. Like it needs to stop.
Yeah, I'm glad you're speaking out. So you saw the comments, and then the chief has been out raising awareness, and there has been a good amount of community support. Maybe you can talk about some of the things you've been seeing and hearing. And I'm not sure if you have friends that are displaced directly, or any kind of perspective that you can share that our viewers and listeners should know about.
Um, yeah, like my chief was out, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. They were out in the streets, and then I think they got stopped by a police officer. I don't know if they got a ticket or not, but apparently you're not supposed to do that due to bylaws. But again, like it's just like we have to raise awareness for this, because like the mayor is not retracting his statement. Like that's what is so upsetting about this, is that like he's has an influx of so many messages and emails and sharing of like posts. Like he's just not apologizing, and that's what's so upsetting about this.
Now, Lindsay, in the perfect world, we're going to have this march, and speeches are going to be made, chants are going to be heard, songs are going to be sung, and then the mayor and the city council is going to come out. When they do come out again in that perfect world, what is it that you want them to say? Are you looking for an apology? Are you looking for a formal resignation? Like, what would make your heart go at ease?
Hmm. Honestly, like an apology and the retraction of those statements would be ideal. But again, like resignation would be a far stretch, I feel. But in terms of the like my community, I'm sure they want to hear an apology. Like no one wants to hear that from the mayor of a city where you're in. Like that's just awful. Like if I was mayor, I would never say that about a community that is displaced. Like that's insane.
We talked to Tyson Wesley on Saturday, and he had said some things that I think are key to remember, that the people who are bearing the most hardship here are your community members. They're our brothers and sisters and siblings that are here in Niagara Falls, and are very uncomfortable living in small hotel rooms. And
Yeah.
so the mayor, you were kind enough to post the mayor's response to some of your socials publicly, and the mayor wrote back and said, "I'm on your side here. Like, I also don't think that everybody should be here, and this isn't ideal." What would you say, like, if you were going to meet with him, and if he sort of took that approach that said, like, kind of everybody kind of agrees that hotels are not ideal, what would you say to him to move forward?
Um, hmm. I mean, like in his email, he was saying that he would need like provincial and federal help with like support systems like that. And again, obviously it's the federal and provincial governments, but it's like your mayor, you have to kind of speak up for the people that are there in your city, as well as like the people in the area. Like that's what is so like frustrating about it. I would want him to like maybe do a little bit more for displaced communities that do end up in his city, but it just seems like such a far stretch right now because of like his comments. It's really infuriating.
Now we know that in reality, so the mayor has concern. The mayor's fundamentally raised the concerns with the costs associated with taking on the evacuees of this number. And while the numbers have yet to be determined and have yet to be finalized, ultimately there's nothing really that the mayor could do to stop this process from happening. Right? Hotels are an independent body, hospitals are a provincial body, police forces are a provincial body. There's nothing that the mayor could potentially do to stop this process from happening again. Keeping all of that in mind, like, is it fair to say that there's going to be an evacuation next year? Usually we have them on a yearly basis. We had them for the last 5 years. Would Kashechewan be receptive to coming back here? Would there be a little pushback from the community, given the lack of hospitality that seems to exist?
I feel like they would not want to come back because of the treatment that they've experienced so far. I mean, they're in these small hotel rooms with no kitchenettes or anything. They can't cook meals properly. Like, it's and they're spread out across Ontario right now. There's Kapuskasing, Timmins, Cochrane, and now they're trying to move them to like Newmarket, Aurora for like a better room, I guess. But it's just like I would think that they would not want to come back because of that, like the treatment that they've experienced.
Something that Tyson Wesley shared that I think was important is that this is expensive on a lot of levels, and I do understand what the mayor is saying about how the city's not not necessarily set up for this type of an environment. I think what's concerning though is that you can't get around the fact that former CAO Ken Todd equated our people being in the streets of Niagara Falls to being homeless people. There's a value judgment there that I think
Yeah.
is at the key and at the heart of this, and we can split hairs about the broader intention and the bigger picture and everything, but I think it's that statement and the inflammatory statements that surround it that are really problematic. Do you think though, like if they full-throatedly just took back, not, you can't take it back, but said, in earnest, we misspoke, we realize that this is a reflection of bad attitudes, we're sorry, and I mean, do you think there's any appetite for that, even on either side, on the city side, on the side of your people?
I mean, I'm just speaking for myself here, but I think that would be ideal. Like, you have to apologize for your words and be remorseful in that sense. Like, these people are displaced. These people need like that kind of compassion, and that's what's so infuriating about this whole thing is like you can't just make those statements because you're just yapping. Like, you have to be mindful of the impact of your words.
You've been really generous with your time here, but I want to make sure that before I let you go, I ask you, is there anything we haven't asked you that you want to make sure that our listeners and viewers are aware of, Lindsey?
I would say just like come out and support the people of Kashechewan. They kind of need it right now. Our chief will be there. I will be there with my mom and some of my family members. And yeah, like, it's just super important that like these officials need to be held accountable and for their actions and their words. It's really important for us to come together as community and not with division. It's really important.
Lindsey Joo, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Sean Vanderklis, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for checking this out. And